Good morning.
Good morning. We are deliberating on the topic the promises we carry, invisible contracts shaping our lives. When I say this word promise, it's a little intense than the conditioning. We are conditioned by the environment around. We see maybe my parents do it or don't do it. I'm subjected to several other influences growing up. So it could be a neighbor who has certain principle, and we talk to that neighbor all the time, and that becomes part of my conditioning. But promise is something that I very intensely, emotionally intensely commit to doing or not doing something. At surface it may appear like this person is very principled. In case of child, it could be a child is very stubborn or rebellious, but deep down something they're like hurt or they're humiliated. At some point they may feel very powerless, injustice, whatever can be the driver. They commit with such intensity that they would never ever change it again. Some at some time later it can become egoistic. It could be because they're very fragile inside that they want to hold on to that identity later, but it's difficult for them to undo it or not follow it through. Like, for example, I have a friend whose parents have not talked. They live together but not talked for over 30-35 years. Apparently her mother was traveling one time somewhere and father did something, like a physical repair to the house that the mother didn't want, and he thought he'll surprise her. When she was gone, she comes back and she was so intensely furious that she said she would never talk. She promised that she would never talk to a person who wouldn't like care for her feelings, and that's it. They're like into their 80s now, late 70s, 80s, they don't speak. That's a promise. And imagine if they have not been speaking for last 30-35 years, they must be in their 45-50s when the mother made that promise. And now children took that trend. Children got married and parents would not speak to each other. And what brunt do children carry then? Right? So, somewhere such promises that we hold is something that I, as a parent and adult, need to understand and resolve and heal them. They may have come for whatever reason, that intense emotional moments, our brain kind of fogs up, freezes, I get into this fight, flight, or freeze mode, and in that moment I just speak something, and then I would not go back and relook and compromise and make up for it. I hold on to it. Okay? So there's one more case where this came from the promises the families made, where daughters had to get married earlier in the family. But in this particular case, daughter was the oldest. She had three younger brothers. For whatever reason, the daughter's marriage wasn't happening. So the brother next to her said, "Until my sister gets married, I'm not going to get married." That was kind of a family promise that he withheld to. And he's the third one in number. He fell in love and he had to get married because the girl side were pushing. So they said, "Okay, go ahead, get married." Fourth one got married. Now the two remained unmarried for the rest of their lives because of the promises. The girl had nothing like that, but then the boy took on what father had promised. So where promise became an identity in our family, this is how it is happening. Some of these are generational traumas. We carry them through because somewhere I do not have my identity is associated with it. The family principles, or something that I took upon myself. It all depends also on, the human nature, the innate human nature. When we talk about temperaments, it comes into picture there. Some of us can make promises, but we also break them equally easily, and we come to know for it, oh, she can never keep her promises. But some of us make very slightest comment also, and they take it very, very seriously, and said, you said that I would never ever step into your house again. I mean, I don't even remember when I would have said that, but that person has taken it very intensely, and they made a promise to themselves that they would never ever go into somebody's house who didn't invite them properly. So very, I mean, it could be a very dramatic situation that happens. It could also be very, very simple day to day activities that we encounter where we want to get into that revenge mode. I'll show you. You will know who I am. You will regret if you said this. Somewhere I get out to prove something to others. Those such promises are like shaping the way I interact with people. And if anyone I see who created this situation, who looked like who created the situation that made me promise, I begin avoiding. And anytime I avoid, I'm also losing out an opportunity. This is something Sadhguru said very beautifully. He said, yeah, you get addict or something. They could go into your brain and numb it or do something to de-addict you. But at the same time, it's also affecting some other areas around, and you're losing a possibility of transcending that addiction and becoming something more beautiful human being. So anytime we are avoiding, there is always this side effect of losing out on something. So that's why we need to be very careful, and we need to begin resolving. And once you go back to those smaller incidents that in which you promise something, there are going to be tons. Something like, I don't like this person, but they love dosa, and I don't want to eat dosa just because I hate that person. Some simple things like that. And I hear my older people in the family, I somehow can't let go of it. So they're holding on to it till this day, though that person may be gone, beyond threshold, or transferred, or moved away, whatever. But that feeling remains with me. I suffer. And when I suffer, my children definitely get a bit of that brunt. So we do not want to get wound up with the past wounds. That's where I need to use my ego organization. That's what I, as a human being, am blessed with it, where I can transform, transcend, and undo. That memory can remain, but the suffering because of memory need not. So where I might need to go back and reconcile, and if I reconcile, it is for my own good. It is not that other people may see how she's back on her path now. She came and apologized, and that's why I'm talking. Whatnot, that's okay. But I, as an individual, have progressed, because this kind of intense commitment, promise we do, it definitely hurts relationships of all kinds. Family, social, workplace, professional, you name it. It affects my ability to be open. And definitely my courage. So it could show up as severe underachievement, because I'm not going. It could be both ways, okay? One could be severe underachievement, severe superachievement, overachievement. I will not trust myself, stop. I will do. Workaholism. Or it could also be like, I do not want to do anything right now, or never. So it shows up in both a severe extrovert form and severe introvert forms. And especially when we recognize ourselves, am I ignoring my child and working because I fear that I might lose a job, I will never have enough money? Then there is something that is working underneath. It's not that we should not make money, it's not that we should work long hard hours, but if it is affecting people under my care, then something deeper is brewing. I need to pause it a little bit. Maybe I have super rigid boundaries. I do not, I sometimes overcompensate. We have people like that. I yell at somebody or my children themselves, and then I feel that I didn't do the right job. Then I try to overcompensate. It is like it's not going to mend the hurt they felt at that moment when I ignored them, hurt them, yelled at them, punished them. Compensation is for my own. I console myself saying, "Oh, I'm managing it," but no, there is going to be relationship withdrawal there. You have provided for me, you have paid for me, I'm grateful to you, but I cannot have a relationship with you. That's what child will grow up with. So somewhere I need to recognize where these patterns, and there are lots of these, the fears, the rejections, these promises I've made, the conditions I have, which have become my belief system. So somewhere I need to pay attention to the promises I have made when in pain. Sometimes I could say, I will never like my parents. I cannot live with my parents. I will not live with my parents. Or sometimes it's like, I'm always available to you. This is another case where one of my friends from US, he made this promise. His mother doesn't want to go and live with him in the US. Now he has built an empire, a business and whatnot, for which he needs to be there. But he made a promise. You call me, I'm there, and I will stay however long you want. And he's been here for almost 6 months now, no signs of going back. He had to go, he traveled for 1 week, did whatever, he came back here. But his kids are also kind of suffering without him there. Now, they could have made a deal, I'll get somebody to help you for some time. You come there for some time. I'll come here for some time. My wife can come and take care of you for some time. Kind of manage it. I'm not saying don't care for the mother. But something, if it is, I need to see if it is coming from my choice or from the reaction. And also check when children make such promises, when we push them. I had children from school, parents were doctors, they wanted children to be doctors. They said, they were scoring in their 90s, but parents weren't happy. So they made promise to themselves, I will never attempt more than 60% of the paper. So they will never get over 60%. They'll barely pass. That's the promise they made. And once they do it, the parents are continuing to tell, study well, you're good, what's happening, scores are dropping, they'll go fight in the school, whatnot. The child's, this inner commitment to themselves will become stronger and stronger. At some time, child is also going to lose in this whole picture. And that is what we need to be looking for, trying to get the clues. So I need to be little flexible. It's not perfection. Yeah, I made a promise, but now I'm going to try and neutralize it, undo it. So don't remain frozen in the pain just to stay in control. Because somewhere we are tied, we remain tied to the past. And we forget this unfolding process. We don't know how to even process that thing we are stuck, and we don't unfold to become who we can possibly become. So if there are any of those, reflect on those, heal them one at a time. Good luck.